Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the MFFL Nation podcast. I'm here again today with my man, Amir Zeltzer. What's going on, man?
It's good. You know what's up. You know what's up.
I know what's up. Mavs had their first regular season game, very highly anticipated game, the rematch of the Suns and the Mavs. We took that out. We lost by 2. I'm not upset about it. There's definitely some adjustments that need to be made as far as the coaching staff, as far as players-wise. That's what the regular season is for. Everyone knows the Mavs are going to make the playoffs. I'm not worried about us not making the playoffs. I think worst to worst, we're a playing team. That's at the worst. But it's the beginning of the season. We can afford to lose games like this. We know we're not going to be a 1-seed team. So I'm not upset about how last night went. We're going to get more into depth about it. But how are you feeling after the game?
Okay, now you see all those comments that you just made, right?
Yeah.
I made those 24 hours ago, right, in our last pod.
Mm-hmm.
I was right. I knew that, although this reminded me a lot of Luka's first game as a Mav, where we played Phoenix away. We always play them in Phoenix, first game of the season. Not sure why. NBA loves doing that to us. But we took a big lead. I remember it was like a 25-point lead. Everyone was going crazy. We were playing great basketball. And then slowly but surely, they started chipping away at the lead just like yesterday. And in the end, they got the dub off of Damian Lee, of all people, who, to be honest, I wasn't even aware he was on the Suns. But hey, I think the biggest takeaway from this game is how Christian Wood played. I think he was excellent. And I'm really excited. I think it brought a whole new level to our team. Our team was completely different. We had so many different offensive creators. Hardaway was making stuff happen. Dinwiddie was making stuff happen. Wood, Luka, and even the guys off the ball, Dorian, Reggie, Dinwiddie, a lot of those guys were hitting threes as well. And even when they started coming back, I think we withstood it for a very long time until the very end. So I like the fight that this team has. I really like the way we played. Despite the L, I think it's actually, I'm not going to say it's a good thing. It's never going to lose, but I think it'll put a little fire under the team. And I think with the ability that the guys showed, if they can keep that up, I'm very excited about this team.
Yeah, and so let's go more into depth about the game. Some things that stood out to me was that Doe only got up 4 shots. He was 1 for 2 from 3, 2 for 4 from the field overall. Doe's not like a primary scorer. He's sort of a 3-and-D guy for us. So, I'm not too upset about that. Reggie did his thing. He had a few threes, played solid defense. One thing that we should talk about, and I want to get your opinion on this, I'm going to ask you about it. JaVale, he played 14 minutes. Sort of wanted to see a little more of him. Our next starter with the lowest amount of minutes was 28, which is double.
Right.
So sort of crazy. I thought JaVale would play more. I know they said that Christian Wood would be the main guy at the end of the games, but I'd like to see more of JaVale. I think he's a great rim protector. I think we struggled with rebounding a little more at the end than we did at the beginning. He's a lob threat. And, they said today that Luka only played with Christian Wood for 15 minutes of the game, which is sort of surprising to me. And I think that needs to be bumped up a little. But how do you feel about JaVale playing only 14 minutes? And in those 14 minutes, he grabbed 3 points. He had I think he had a lob. No, he had this layup over Aiden, and then he went 1 for 2 or 1 for 4 from the free throw line.
Well, I actually was going to bring up the Luka and Wood thing where they didn't play a lot together. And I think especially down the stretch, we really needed Wood to be in the game in the last few minutes of the game because we needed that rebounding. I think Maxey was poor yesterday. He wasn't shooting the ball well on defense. He was still getting, he tried. He did a good, he had a lot of effort. He put a lot of effort out there, but the Aiden matchup it didn't work that time. And I think the McGee thing where him playing only 15 minutes is going to be here to stay. I think that for us to bring him in, I think he wanted to ensure, as Woj said back when we signed him, that he wanted to be the starter. But at the end of the day, I think it's more so him being a starter by name and nothing else. I think he's going to get his minutes. But also, if you remember, in Phoenix and the last few stops that he's had, Golden State, even when he was with us last time, he didn't play that many minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe and he's past his prime at this point. He's still, I think he can contribute in a big way, but he's going to be doing that in limited minutes. And I think that's just what we're going to see from here on out. I also think that Kidd mismanaged the end of the game a little bit, especially with the Wood thing.
I think that was his worst coaching game of his career. Easily.
I don't know if I could say that definitively, but it was pretty poor from what I remembered.
With the Mavericks, it was if not the worst one of them.
Could be one of them.
I wasn't really, and I'm not going to blame the game on J. Kidd. Do I think he has to do with some of it? Yes, and I think that also affects Sweeney, Dudley, Shamgod, because those are our assistant coaches as well. So I think the rotation in the fourth quarter mainly screwed us up. As a coach, when you see your team with a big lead, with a player that's in, and then he gets subbed out, and then that lead gets subtracted to single digits, and then they get the lead, and you still have Christian Wood on the bench, who went on a 16-point run by himself, there's got to be a switch. There's got to be a change. Like, okay, we got to get Wood back in if we want to win this game. So I think that was something, and we'll talk about it more, but I think that's something that's going to be really important for this coaching staff, is realizing who to have in at certain times of the game. Christian Wood should have played the final 6 minutes of that game easily.
Absolutely.
There's no debate about it. I like Dinwiddie. Mavs FFL, a famous Twitter page for the Mavs fans, tweeted, "We really don't understand how valuable Spencer Dinwiddie is on the floor. He played a big role last night. When he caught on fire, he shot 3 for 4 in the span of like 8 minutes from 3. He shot 6 for 11. He had 15 points, 3 assists. And then, of course, Luka did his thing. And one thing I want to give props to Luka is that we've never seen
free throw shooting.
13 from 13. I think one bad thing was 2 for 10 from 3-point line. Wasn't really impressed about that.
And he's gonna have those kind of games though. Luka's
when you're a step back shooter, some nights they're gonna be falling, some nights they're not. But he facilitated still. He still got his rebounds. Going down the line, Maxey, I was disappointed. I tweeted, I would have rather Dwight Powell than Maxey last night. That full honesty. I think people really overreacted to Dwight Powell this summer. He was a big regular season asset to us last year. He just happened to play bad in the playoffs. So I've, not seeing Dwight Powell play at all was crazy to me. Sort of upsetting because we know that he can still play well. THJ, first game back, 3 for 10. He hit a 3. He went to the line. He got a few and ones. Not the game that I wanted to see from him, but it was good to see that he didn't change. Like, he didn't get worse post-injury. It's still the same Tim Hardaway, which I think is going to help us throughout the year. And then Christian Wood, we all know what he did. He was playing solid defense. He was, blocking shots. He was making baskets. He scored at his own will. When he wanted to score, he scored. Also, that lucky backboard 3. But, we don't have to talk about it too much. And then I'd say my most upsetting duo of the night was Kleber Green. I think Green showed a lot of effort on defense, but we didn't see the Green that everyone was hyping up in the offseason. He wasn't doing anything too impressive. But, it's the first game of the season, guys. Nothing too much to be too upset about. I think we have a lot of talent on this team. I think we're a top 5 team in the West. I think we're a top 10 team, top 8 team in the NBA. So I'm not really worried, but do you see the Mavs possibly putting Powell or in that rotation, or do you see Campazzo going in at all? Do you see a Hardy?
Okay, again, it's only been one game. It was a nationally televised game.
Campazzo is going to be available for the Grizzlies game on Saturday.
Right, and I think also sort of I'll give Kidd the benefit of the doubt. I think down the stretch, he wanted the guys that he was more familiar with, the guys that were on the team last year. Except, I mean, Timmy was in, but he was hurt. You know, he's been part of this team for a long
Yep.
time. He just wanted guys he knew he could trust, and obviously Wood was playing really well. But I think we're going to see a lot of changes over the regular season. I remember Rick Carlisle had a similar thing where he would try out a bunch of different lineups the first few weeks of the season just to see what worked, see what didn't. And I think we're starting to get a glimpse into that already in game one. And I think there's going to be a lot more changes, a lot more players getting involved. But the thing that I was most excited about was the fact that even with some of our guys out and playing limited minutes and Composite not even being available, we have a legitimate 10-man, even more rotation that is very solid, that could play big playoff minutes. I was pretty confident with the way that we were playing. Guys could come in and out for the most part. And I think it was looking good. The only thing I was a little bit worried about that was a problem for us last year was rebounding. I think especially down the stretch of that game.
Because because it was Maxi. Bro, I'm telling you.
I agree. It was Maxi.
If he had Mr. Wood in the final 6 minutes, there's no rebounding problems.
But to be fair, yes, but also one player isn't going to fix that. I think it's like we have to, especially in the playoffs last year, I think we committed a lot more to the rebounding. And I think that'll be a big priority this year as well. Because I think we have the personnel for it. I think we even have the liners for it, but it didn't really show yesterday. And I think that'll be something that Kid and the coaching staff will definitely, they saw the same game that we did. They'll definitely identify it, and I think it'll be addressed.
Right. There'll definitely be adjustments. I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I think the Mavs are going to just be fine. We have a lot of talent on this team. Luka hates losing. Every NBA player takes that shit personally.
Every one of those guys hates losing. You could see how much,
especially to the Suns.
Care,
we didn't want to lose to the Suns. No one wanted to lose that game. But I'd say the Suns were a little more motivated than us because of what happened in Game 7 at their own crib, and I was sort of pissed off about that. I wish we had home court advantage for this game. Like, it just makes more sense.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, despite the result, I think what we showed was a lot more than I was expecting. There was a lot more. Our offense was a lot more dynamic. Our defense looked pretty good at times. I liked the strategy we did with Booker, just doubling and tripling him when he was going off, because the other offensive options for them were not as consistent. And I think the team defense that we played as well as the individual creators that we had on the offensive end, I think we have a good chance to be better than last year based on what I saw yesterday. We can keep that up.
Without a doubt, this team's going to be better than last year, without a doubt. And I love Brunson, but I think
Hey, speaking of Brunson, he played well in the second half against the Grizzlies. I watched the end of that game, and he had some clutch shots of him, but they couldn't come up with the win.
He sort of sold at the end.
A little bit, yeah. But it'll definitely be an interesting team to watch, because that's a weird team. Cam Reddish all of a sudden putting up big stats.
Yeah.
There were a lot of exciting games yesterday, other than our game.
Yeah, and also, just so Mavs fans know this, that was a travel by Damian Lee at the end. Like, without a doubt, the guy took 4 steps.
Yeah, but
there's no like subtle yes. There's no.
It was a travel, but it's one of those things that doesn't get called often at the end of games.
But they called a freaking double dribble by Luka.
Also, the tech on Luka was just stupid as well. I don't think that
he was throwing it to a ref.
He was throwing the ball to the ref, but honestly, that had a big impact on the end of the game.
That's a game changer. We don't need
with Luka's and one that would have given us the lead, and they would have won anyway. Technically, if you look at it, but like it would have changed the mentality. That
we wouldn't have shot a step back 3 if there was no technical.
I think so too. I think we would have gone for the 2 to win the game.
But I think what also screwed us over was using that last timeout, which we had to, because we didn't force that jump ball. But I want to show everyone the clips of Christian Wood and showing what he's capable of when Luka's not on the court. So I'm going to share my screen right here. We're going to show you guys what he did, if it lets me.
I was excited about what I saw from Wood. He was
Yeah.
He was doing some crazy stuff out there I wasn't expecting. Like I saw him do some of it, but I thought it was just the highlights, man. But he was doing it consistently.
So I mean, here's that little backboard three, which it happens in the league, man. He was laughing about it, and then boom, we said run it back right here. I feel like people don't respect his shot enough in the NBA.
I think so too. And I think the biggest thing was how much, especially look at this play right here, how much he was able to have the ball in his hands. He was legitimately the number one ball handler when Luka wasn't on the floor. And it gave our team a very different dynamic to have a big man, but the ball in his hands. And as well as the pick and roll and pick and fade actions that he was making, like the one right here.
Like
It
here,
completely
this is
changed the
where
way that we could play.
this is where I thought the game was over. That was where I thought the game was over.
Yeah, and then the comeback began for
Yeah.
Phoenix.
But I mean, just the way that we were able to play offensively without Luka on the floor was something that I'm really intrigued about. But I just want to show. I want to show this here. What's the problem here? Please tell me.
What
Christian
do you
Wood,
mean?
Christian
Wait, what
Wood,
did
Christian Wood is
oh
not
well,
on the floor. They subbed him out for Spencer Dinwiddie. I
I
would
mean, to
keep
be
Dinwiddie.
fair,
I would keep
as a
Dinwiddie, and
set,
I would take Kleber out. I would take Kleber out.
I agree. I was shouting at a kid I was shouting at my TV to take out Cleveland for the last 5 minutes of the game. But like to be fair, out of these sets, like it's not like with Wood here, like not much would have changed with like the final minute of the game offensively. It was more so defensively, getting boards, having
See,
someone, especially for this play right here.
I just
Obviously, it was a good defensive effort, but at the end,
it's a
but we could
travel
have used
look.
them.
1, 2, yeah, right there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I just think this was sort of like a poor end game situation shot. I think we could have ran a quick
It
P and
was
R.
too far, and Luka's done that on multiple occasions too, where he'll take a step back from way far, and it's always
Yeah,
short, and
right.
then yeah, and then
Right. So I mean, nothing. Sorry. I mean, I just want to show that to really help people realize how big Christian Wood is going to be for us this year. And he's not going to shoot like that every night, guys. So don't get your hopes up. But Tim Hardaway is going to shoot like that some nights. Maxey is going to be hitting shots some nights. Josh Green's going to be hitting. So we have the depth to where if one guy's not playing well, we're fine. This is why
and
the
I,
Dallas will be just fine.
and I think that's what I was touching on when I said that we have that legitimate rotation for the regular season and the playoffs, so that it's not anymore where one or two guys aren't good, then we're in a rut. I think we have so many different offensive pieces that can genuinely contribute in a big way to this team. And when Luke is on the floor, when he's not playing well, Christian Wood, same thing. We have so many other players, especially, and I think the problem was, especially last year, is that we had only guard creators, and then forwards were either spot up or pick and roll guys. And now with Wood being able to handle the ball the way he does, playing a sort of kind of like the way the Bucks or the Nuggets would play with Giannis and Jokic kind of thing, or just any team that has their centerpiece as a big man, then everyone else can spread out, and it changes the way that teams can match up against us.
Yeah, I agree. I was definitely frustrated when we lost, but we got 2 days off, and we got our first home opener against the Grizzlies, which I'm excited about. That's always a fun game to watch. Luka versus Ja. Grizzlies are a good team, and then we got another 2-day break, and we take on the Pelicans, which is going to be a hard game. We got another hard game, the Nets. So I'd like to see us win the next 2 out of 3.
And I'd like to talk a little bit about those matchups that we have coming up, just those teams. I watched a little bit of Sports Center after the game. It was just on, so I was like, why not? And Ben Simmons obviously got off to a rough start, as
All right.
did the Nets as a whole, where they got destroyed by the Pelicans by about 20 points. Zion was playing really well, but it seemed that KD was the only one who was really producing in that specific game. And obviously the Pelicans are a very good defensive team. And I think if we can match up against the Nets in that kind of way and make KD be the only one who can beat us and not Kyrie and not Ben Simmons, take out their shooters, then I think we have a good chance of winning that game, especially if we're on offensively. I think I also watched.
I mean, Kyrie's definitely going to contribute. He just had an off night.
He did, absolutely. And we are going to have to shut him down too. But if we can limit their major contributions to KD, then I think we'll have a good chance. I also think against the Grizzlies, they have a very deep team. A lot of guys who can contribute, even guys I've never even heard of putting up like almost 20. That I don't know, is he a rookie? That guy who put up like 19 and 11. I forget his name, but
On the Grizzlies?
Yeah, on the Grizzlies. He played like 40-something minutes too, because of the overtime. They had a very interesting
Aldama or whatever.
Aldama. He was playing well. Morant was good, and just they're a very interesting team, like they were last year. A lot of pieces, and it's going to be a very, very interesting test for us to see how we're going to play against a team that's more team oriented rather than just Booker and shooters. You know?
Yeah, they play like a team. They play like a team for sure, and it's going to be a rebounding challenge. It is, and I think this is where we see why we got JaVale McGee. We're going up against Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson, or is Jackson out?
He's out. He's been out. He's out for like a few months.
Yeah. Okay, we're going up against Steven Adams.
Brandon Clark.
Concar got a lot of rebounds last night. Guys like Bane. This is going to be a testament to McGee and guys like Wood, even Kleber, Powell. Josh Green's a good rebounder.
Even Luka, he fights for a lot of boards too. Bullock, I've seen a lot of times too.
I mean, I think we're going to see a few more McGee minutes this game, just because whenever Adams is on the floor, you need someone 6'10" or above. Adams grabbed 14 rebounds last night.
And some of the ones that he took at the end of the last game were huge. Literally, one of his rebounds off of the free throw miss was huge for them.
He's a strong motherfucker.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be something that I'm looking forward to. I love watching Mavs Grizzlies go at it. It is just so fun. The Luka Morant matchup, I mean, I know everyone debates it, but Luka's obviously the better player.
Luka's player. Come on.
Ja's great though. Ja's a very good player.
He's a top 10 player in the league. He's really good.
Yeah, Ja's very good, but I think Luka is a little like a stair step above him. But that's going to be a highly anticipated game as well. And yeah, I mean, I hope we get a little Campazzo action with Ntilikina out. I think if Luka and Dinwiddie, I think Campazzo plays. I think he plays Saturday. I think
so too. He'll probably play like around 10 minutes or something. Not anything too major, but they're just gonna give him some run. I think so.
And I think it takes away. It may take some Green minutes. It may take some Kleber minutes. Kleber, I was really pissed off about.
I think the McGee minutes will take away the Kleber minutes. I think it's more so the guards who are going to get a little bit less run. But I'm interested to see how Campazzo works with some of the other guys on the team, because I don't know if he's going to be playing a lot with Luka. I don't know if he's going to be playing with who's going to be the guard next to him, because obviously Ntilikina's out. Right? So
what fans don't understand is, what did the Mavs start last year? They were like 9-14, right?
Yeah, we were in like the 11th seed or something like that.
Yeah, guys, we have Wood, McGee, Campazzo, and Hardaway, who all didn't play for the Mavericks last year.
To end the season.
Yes. This is the first 20 games of the season is where we build our chemistry. Once you get closer to All-Star break, once you get closer to the end of the regular season, you see, wow, we have talent. We can make another playoff run. We can make it to the finals. We could do this, that, and the third. So I'm not worried about these first 10 games. This is getting to know how everyone plays on the court. Luka, he's a facilitator, so obviously he's going to need to build chemistry with guys to know where and when to pass to them. The one thing I really hope kid adjusts is late game situations, and I'd like to see Wood on the floor with Luka more.
And I think he was just testing out the whole, especially for the regular season. He's probably going to want like more staggered minutes where they both play around 35 minutes a game. And when one is not in, then the other's in. I think that's going to be a theme. But when come playoff time, that's not going to be happening. Or at least they'll be both on the court together much more often.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So, and I think Kid needs to give Dwight Powell a shot. Just to see.
I'm sure he will. It's just game one.
Yeah. But this wasn't meant to be a long pod. Is there anything you want to add on?
I'm really excited for the season. I think just watching that game, I didn't watch too much preseason. So I think watching that game, with all the lights and everything, national TV, first game of the season, got me back into the spirit of NBA basketball, Mavs basketball. Watching all our guys, I think they showed a lot of talent, and obviously it's going to take time to build the chemistry and to know what the actual ceiling of this team is. But just looking out there, seeing how comfortable guys were, and Luka was smiling the entire way, and I'd say that was how I was feeling throughout that game. I'm excited for this team. I'm really excited for this team.
Yeah. 81 more games, man. Maybe we're tanking for Wembanyama. Who knows? No, I'm kidding. But
no way.
No way. But we're 0-1. I still think we're gonna have a great season. It's one loss. Not too worried.
I don't think we own our pick this year, by the way. I think the Knicks have it.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. But I think it's protected.
Could be, but yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It won't be a consideration at all.
It won't be. We'll be in the playoffs like that. That won't be anything we have to worry about. But as always, man, I appreciate having you on the pod. Shout out Amir Zeltzer. He's the man. Diehard Mavs fan. So appreciate you having on, my man. And I'm sure we'll be back on the pod this week.
Thank you for having me. Go Mavs.
Go Mavs. Peace out, MFFL Nation. Hold up. I'm sorry. Gotta end it.